Hello everyone, my name is Ernopoulos Timothy and today I'm making a video for my intermediate grammar final project. So I will review one of my favorite film, Troy. So Troy is an epic historical film directed by Wolfgang Petersen and written by David Benioff. The story is based on Homer's Iliad in its narration of the entire story of the Trojan War. This film features an ensemble cast led by Brad Pitt as Achilles, Eric Bana as Hector, and Orlando Bloom as Paris. So the story begins with Agamemnon, king of Mycenae with his troops, face Triopas, king of Thessaly with his troops. Agamemnon has conquered all the Greeks and only Thessaly he hasn't conquered. To avoid another massacre, they decided to settle the war with an old manner, which is Agamemnon best fighter against Triopas best fighter. Agamemnon asks Achilles to win this battle so he can finally conquer all the Greeks. Achilles defeated Boeogeus easily with only one movement. Then, finally Agamemnon managed to conquer all the Greeks. Prince Hector of Troy and his younger brother Paris negotiate with Menelaus, king of Sparta. Paris was having an affair with Menelaus' wife, Queen Helen. He took Helen from her husband to be with him in Troy. Paris has just taken Menelaus' wife and Menelaus realized it. He finally came to his brother Agamemnon to help him destroy Troy and retrieve his wife. Agamemnon agrees, as conquering Troy will give him control of the Aegean Sea. Agamemnon sent a messenger to all the Greeks and asked Odysseus, king of Ithaca, to persuade Achilles to join them in the war. Achilles was training with his cousin Patroclus when Odysseus asked him to join them. Achilles had been warned by his mother that if he go to Troy, he would never come home. But he ignored his mother's warning by saying that even though he will die, he will be forever glorified. In Troy, King Priam is dismayed when Hector and Paris introduce Helen, but welcomes her and decides to prepare for war. The next day, Agamemnon and his 50,000 men cross the Aegean Sea to come to Troy. Achilles and his Myrmidon invade and take the Trojan beach with only 50 men. Achilles has the temple of Apollo sacked and has a brief confrontation with Hector. He claims Briseis, a priestess and the cousin of Paris and Hector, as a prisoner afterward. However, Agamemnon spitefully takes Briseis from Achilles and Achilles decides he won't further aid Agamemnon in the siege. The next day, the Trojan and the Greek armies meet outside the wall of Troy. Paris offers to duel Menelaus personally to fight over Helen, and Menelaus agreed. Menelaus wounds Paris, causing him to cower at the foot of Hector. When Menelaus attempts to kill Paris despite his victory, Hector snaps and kills him. Agamemnon saw his brother's death, then led all the Greeks to attack the Trojan. There are so many casualties in this war. Hector killed Ajax, one of the best Greek warriors with a duel situation. Trojan has the best archer in the world, so they could defend Troy easily. Agamemnon then gives an order to fall back. After Ajax and Menelaus are cremated in the Greek camp, Agamemnon and Odysseus argue why they lost the battle. Agamemnon gives Briseis to the Greek soldier for their amusement, but Achilles saves her from them. Later that night, Briseis sneaks into Achilles' quarter to kill him. Instead, she falls for him and they become lovers. Achilles then resolves to leave Troy, much to the dismay of Patroclus, his cousin. King Priam orders all the Trojans to retake the Trojan beach by daybreak and force the Greeks to return home. The attack unifies the Greeks and the Myrmidon enter the battle. Hector then duels a man that he believes to be Achilles and kills him. But he was wrong. The man he killed that day wasn't Achilles, it was Patroclus. Then, both armies agreed to stop fighting for the day. Achilles knew that his cousin was killed by Hector and decided to take his revenge. The next day, Achilles arrives outside Troy and challenges Hector. Knowing death will await him, Hector says goodbyes to his loved one, including his wife and son. The two duel took place outside the gates. Hector is slowly worn down until Achilles throws a spearhead into Hector's shoulder and stabs him in the heart. Achilles then drags his corpse back to Trojan Beach. Priam, in disguise, sneaks into the camp and implores Achilles to return Hector's body for a proper funeral. Ashamed of his actions, Achilles agrees and also states that Hector was the best warrior he ever fought, and no Greeks will attack Troy in 12 days. Odysseus concocts a plan to infiltrate the city. After seeing a carving of a horse by a Greek soldier, he has the Greeks build a gigantic wooden horse as a piece of offering and abandon the Trojan beach, hiding their ships in nearby cove. 12 days later in the morning, King Priam sees the gigantic wooden horse and orders the host to be brought into the city. That night, the Greeks hiding in the horse emerge, including Achilles, attacking the sleeping Trojans and open the city gates for another Greek armies. Unlike everyone, Achilles only wants to save Briseis from this massacre. They started the massacre and killed all the Trojans, including women and their children. While Andromache and Helen guide the Trojans to safety through the tunnel, Paris gives the sword to a young boy named Aeneas, and instructing him to protect the Trojans and find them a new home. Agamemnon orders his army to burn Troy. Troy is burning, there's fire everywhere. Troy becomes a sea of fire. Agamemnon then finds and kills Priam by impaling him with a spear. He later tries to capture Briseis, but Briseis kills him by stabbing him in the neck with a concealed knife. And when two Agamemnon soldiers are about to kill Briseis, Achilles comes and saves her. Paris, seeking to avenge his brother, shoots an arrow through Achilles' heel and then several into his body. Knowing that he will be dead soon, he then bids farewell to Briseis and asks her to leave Troy as soon as possible, then watches her flee with Paris before dying. In aftermath, Troy is finally taken by the Greeks and a funeral is held for Achilles. Odysseus personally cremates his body, while the surviving Trojans flee to Mount Ida. I think that's all for my intermediate grammar final project video. Thank you for watching and bye bye.